Welcome back to the Course Creation Incubator. I'm Gina Anativia, your digital course consultant and coach, feeling reinvigorated, refreshed. I just got back from a 2-week extravaganza on the East Coast, where we saw my in-laws in Miami, and then we took a jaunt over to New York, about 30 miles north from the city, to see my parents and reconnect with my brother, my sister-in-law on the East Coast. It felt great. And if you're listening and you're a mom or dad, you know traveling with little kids, now Tristan's 7, is never truly a vacation. But we definitely got a lot of pool time in, some relaxation time, and my husband Alex and I got to celebrate our 10th wedding anniversary at this great Miami restaurant at Matheson Hammock Park. We ate this big old snapper, we drank sangria, they lit up a bread pudding for us at the end, the whole 9 yards. I'll include a photo in the show notes. And it was a magical time to step away and think about how I want to serve you guys for the rest of the year and what I want to talk about on this podcast. And I've got a lot of exciting things in store. My team and I are cooking up a bunch of fun stuff that I'll talk about in new podcasts. And while I was away, I was checking in with some of my accelerator students, seeing how they're doing. Some have launched, some feel like they're floundering a little bit, and there's a few that I know can get across the finish line if we just make a few adjustments. And since I was inspired by all these conversations, I thought I would talk about what happens when you start building your course and then you get stuck and you can't see the finish line. For example, I have an accelerator who quit her job while she was doing the course, and she's saying, I need this course to succeed. She's working hard to get her handouts and everything done. In fact, she messaged me, I've been scripting and doing slides like crazy. I'm about 75% done at this point. I have some free time next week to record the videos for the course and then put it all together. I love this because I know she's on her way. She has a plan. Now, some of you may be listening and thinking, well, gee, I don't have a plan. I'm feeling stuck. I'm feeling sluggish. How do I get there? How do I get momentum again? So let's talk about that. Let's talk about those 3 steps to feel momentum once again. Because I know if you're listening right now, it might be kind of an interesting time. You might be out and about. Maybe you aren't feeling as focused on your business. So I want you to listen in now. Start to think about taking action again. Small steps. Building momentum. And I saw this tweet from Simon Sinek today, and I thought this was perfect. That idea is so fantastic. Stop talking about it and do it. Remember, this is the Incubator podcast, not Sit and Wait podcast. So in the spirit of Simon Sinek's tweet, let's get moving. All right, step 1 to kind of get out of this sluggish feeling is to take stock of where you are and maybe what you're getting stuck on. Because sometimes I find course creators who are stuck on their handouts because they're spending too much time writing out every detail and then making sure it's perfect, or redoing their scripts over and over, or waiting on the perfect recording time to happen. Maybe they're looking to book at somebody's house or at a studio. It doesn't have to be the perfect location, just get it recorded. Because no matter how long you take, your course isn't going to be perfect the first time you put it out. It's just not. You're starting with what you know, but inevitably, when you start working with your students, you'll see ways to improve your materials or improve your experience. So give yourself permission to put out your best first effort with the understanding that you'll improve it along the way. And if you're getting stuck because you know there are things you don't know how to do or things you just aren't good at, like designing handouts, I'm not great at designing handouts. I would never do that for myself. I want you to hire it out. There are a ton of freelancers, virtual assistants who can help you finish tasks quickly because they do these sorts of things all the time. Be honest with yourself. If there's something you're hanging on to, like, yes, I'm just going to do this myself, like your slides, maybe it's time to hire it out. Maybe it's time to get help. I really want you to acknowledge why you've been stuck. And if it's just part of the process, like, hey, Gina, course creation, there's a lot of layers. All right, it's okay. Or if life circumstances come up, I get it. But if it's you hung up mentally on something, then I want you to try to get past it. Because here's what I want you to know. All the pieces do not have to be perfect. Not all the pieces have to be in place. I'd rather you launch a course that's, say, 25% done and you figure out the rest because your students are only going to want the results. They're not going to see the rest. And you can bring them a result by going live. You don't have to get it all done. You have to have your outline figured out and what you want to teach, but all of these pieces don't have to be in place. So that's first and foremost, take stock. Then the second step I want you to take if you feel like you're floundering is to simplify and potentially pivot. This is going back to number one, where I'd say I'd rather have 25% of your course in place. I want you to simplify what you're doing. So if you planned out 7 modules, maybe you should do 3. Your course can't make a difference if it isn't out there. And think about your students. What are they looking for? Chances are, like I said, they're focused on results, not the size of your course. In fact, if you can create a simple course that helps them with a quick win, it might be easier for them to sign up and make them more eager to continue working with you in a bigger course or your next offer. I've got an architect student right now who said she was going to put out a signature course. She took another look and said, you know what? I'm going to break this up. I'm going to take this chunk out just for this course, and I'm going to launch it for the fall. She can come back to that bigger course and sell that later, but she wants to get that offer out there. She wants to get that student feedback. So I love this strategy. Is there a piece that you could take out of your bigger course? Is there another course that's a smaller program that you've been thinking about that maybe you did a webinar or a masterclass or a training on that you can use and sell? We have yet another accelerator who already did a webinar for what she's going to sell for her course. Slides ready to go. She had the talk ready to go. She has her notes. So she's putting that out there because she knows she can leverage it right now. Think about what you can leverage right now too. Think about how you can simplify and use what you've got. I think sometimes we get caught up on course creation and we get all lofty. We think, oh, I'm going to teach my signature program because this is what people want or this is my life's work. But meanwhile, I really love the idea of simplifying, pivoting, reusing what you've got. I want you to look at this with a fresh perspective, by the way. And if you can't bring a fresh perspective, then ask someone to help you. I've been working on this project with a client, and it's a great story, a project story. It's a case study. I've been working on it for, I think it's been months now. And just the other day, a team member said, why don't you bring this person in to bring a fresh perspective? My face lit up because that's exactly what I need right now. I've been staring at these things for months. I can't see the river through the trees or whatever that expression is. I need fresh eyes. You might need to bring in somebody fresh. I've got old students who come to me and say, well, Gina, I think I'm going to simplify this. And then I tell them, that's great, move forward. I give them those fresh eyes, that fresh perspective. So think about bringing in someone else to look at what you want to present in your course, maybe how you can simplify, how you can break it up a little bit and get your offer out there. Then after thinking through all this, as part of step 3, I want you to plan a simple launch. So regardless, by the way, if you're doing a mini launch or a full out launch, if you haven't listened to that episode I did with Megan O'Leary, where we talk about how we plan our launches, please go back and listen to that. I'll link to it in the show notes. Let me explain why I want you to do a mini launch, because I know sometimes things aren't working or it doesn't feel like the steps are coming into place. You've got a lot of different pieces to pull off. That's why a mini launch might be a really great option for you. So maybe you have one selling system. You do, say, one masterclass. You send out a couple of emails to a segment. You start small. You start with your network. Then you build from there. In that episode with O'Leary, we talked about Shannon, the college admission counselor, who's going to go out to her smaller inner network or inner circle first before she goes out to the bigger public for her college admissions course. And her course, by the way, is great for the public. The public has been waiting for it. They can't wait to consume it. It's going to be a hit. But Shannon also knows she has this built-in network to go to start, so it feels a little less overwhelming. It doesn't feel like a lot of pressure to launch. I want you putting your stake in the ground to figure out what that mini launch looks like. What are a few elements that you could pull off without the stress to just get it sold, get the offer out there, get some student feedback on your emails, your sales page, your different messaging. So you could say, I did this. I can build on this. I can build momentum. We've got some students in the architect right now who have launched, and now they're building on that, building on momentum that they saw during their promotion. So as a recap, take a stock of what you've done. What's holding you back? And maybe there's some beliefs holding you back, by the way, or somebody planted some doubt in your head. This happens all the time too. I get messages, Gina, I was plowing full speed ahead. Then somebody sent me a competitor's link and I realized that her sales page was this and that. And she was offering all these great bonuses. Who freaking cares? They're not you. I don't want you hung up on those doubts. You had a plan, go full speed ahead. So take stock mentally, emotionally, what's going on in your life. How are you going to move forward? 2, think about simplifying or pivoting, adapting or leveraging something you already have. 3, put that mini launch in the ground and just go for it. You're listening to this podcast right now because I want you to take action and I know you want to move forward. Take these 3 steps, do it. I'll be back in touch because obviously I'm sounding pretty fired up right now. That's what vacation does to me. And I want to make sure you're getting it done. I'll see you next week. Please rate and review this episode, especially if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, and subscribe. Until next week, go create, be you and be brilliant, and get it done.